Your Honor, if she would have not moved out the way that she had, we would have not moved out either.
I don't care.
You should, though.
I know. Listen to me. I don't care.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the Judge Judy litigants who made us want to swear off roommates or landlords forever.
I think that you overstepped it and you abused the system.
Number 10, Odd Man Out. The slippery defendants, Oscar and Eduardo, subleased a bedroom to the plaintiff in a 3-bedroom apartment. Well, in reality, they subleased a living room for him to sleep in.
Where did you sleep?
I agreed to stay in the living room on the couch.
But they still charged him. What already sounds like an unfair situation got worse when the defendant's relatives moved into the same living room they rented to the plaintiff.
Mr. Saavedra, after you signed the lease, at any point did any other people move in to the apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who?
My brother, Miguel Saavedra, and Anna.
Their roommate didn't just sit down and take this, and they think he's in the wrong.
Did you give him his rent back for January?
We did not because he's still on the lease.
I don't care. You got a lot of nerve moving in additional relatives to stay in his bedroom.
Their entitlement speaks volumes. Judge Judy is not impressed with these defendants from the jump. Even one of them going to pour himself some water irritates her.
Do you really need water?
Yes.
Number 9, watch your mouth. 2 college students move into an apartment together.
When did the two of you move in together, Miss Williams?
We moved in together February 3rd.
Of this year?
Yes.
Judging by the amount of eye rolling, it unsurprisingly did not end well. Plaintiff Raven Miyamoto loaned defendant Daisha Williams money to cover her rent. She's in court to collect that and additional costs. Instead of legal arguments, interpersonal drama takes center stage, with personal slights being made on both sides.
She was dealing with past traumas and asked me to move in with her.
She's not your mother.
Oh, I know.
Pay your own rent.
The judge is predictably annoyed. But when Miyamoto decides to literally call BS, she seals her own fate.
We had been having issues beforehand, and there's already tension in the house due to Daisha's attitude towards me.
Okay.
Or because you were jealous.
Whatever it was, you weren't getting along. And?
Okay.
And,
just a second.
Swearing in the courtroom is not advised. When she repeats herself without a hint of shame, the judge knows all she needs to know about these two.
What did you say?
I said
Bye. Case is dismissed. We're done.
The only one who calls BS in Judge Judy's courtroom is Judge Judy. Number 8, wet cereal on her clothes. Servers at the same restaurant moved in together.
And Miss Morgan worked at the same place. She offered you to come to stay with her and you would split the rent.
But the two started having arguments about cable costs and plaintiff Paige Morgan's boyfriend living there without paying his share. When the judge directly asks him where he lives, Morgan's partner stutters and stammers into an answer.
What's your permanent address?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
Your permanent address?
It's in Douglasville, Georgia, 1 road over from her.
Although she is the one being sued, the defendant's countersuit over the plaintiff breaking open her bedroom door and pouring wet cereal on her property rings true.
Your clothes were spread out and?
All over the floor, and there was cereal, wet cereal dumped all over my clothes.
Morgan does get her rent money because of a lack of evidence, but she and her significant other don't come off too well in the end. Number 7. Stop interrupting. Laken Pickrell sues her former roommates after being unfairly forced out of her apartment. She was thrown out and a false restraining order was issued against her.
Uncross your arms. It didn't work out in an almost unseemly way.
But defendants Francesca Ortega and her boyfriend Martin Torres can't get their story straight. Ortega's body language actually offends the judge immediately. Her constant interrupting and shady logic buries her credibility even further.
But the next day, she came back to the residence on the 28th.
No, I'm sorry.
No. Sit.
Once Torres is left to his own devices and can't tell the story she wants him to tell, Ortega tries to insert herself into the proceedings multiple times. She actually gets kicked out eventually.
Put her out.
Explain her story for 2 minutes because I feel you're manipulating.
Their behavior in the courtroom does more for Pickrell's case than even the evidence does. Number 6, a relationship in flames. These two were together for nearly a decade, but this case is more about who owns a shared property.
You purchased a house.
Yes, ma'am.
And the house was purchased with all of your money.
Correct.
And the mortgage on the house is in your name.
Correct.
Jesse Williams Jr. and Michelle Emmerich level all sorts of allegations once they get in front of the cameras.
He's lying again.
Just a second.
ma'am.
Did you file an order of protection against him?
After the fact, he threatened when I caught my daughter in the bedroom behind the door when I put laundry in the washer that was downstairs where his room is.
The thing is, Judge Scheindlin isn't interested in petty and melodramatic squabbles. She also isn't interested in their using orders of protection to try getting each other thrown out of their shared house.
Whose house is this?
It's both of ours.
Well, unfortunately, you are correct. That would be your fault.
Yes, ma'am. I understand this.
And
Emmerich's belligerence even gets her removed from the court.
your case is dismissed. Get out.
Okay.
Your counterclaim is dismissed. Get out.
Unfortunately, Judge Judy can't undo their bad decisions and has to send the plaintiff out without a satisfying resolution. Number 5, you're a fibber. Right away, this case begins with a lie.
You and your 2 children moved in with him. What was the rent?
$500 a month.
When did you move in?
July.
When did you move out?
July 15th.
The defendant attests she didn't even live in the apartment she shared with the plaintiff for most of the time he says she did. So the judge has to do what she does best and scare the truth out of her.
If I may, when I did leave Washington State, I moved in with my mother.
You're a fibber.
I'm a what?
Fibber.
Scheindlin starts pressing her about where she was living during the unaccounted months, and her shaky story starts to crumble.
I'm asking you, if you were still at the same job, where were you living? You weren't living with your mother because your mother lives in Tampa. You lived in Orlando.
You keep saying I lived in Orlando and I worked in Orlando. I'm telling you I did not.
She doesn't even have the good sense to panic either. Instead, she becomes smug with the judge and just smirks as she happily contradicts her own answer to the complaint. Number 4, so egregious. Denise Silva moved into Charlotte Caron's condo, paying some rent in advance.
How much money did she give you?
I think it was $1,000.
How much money did you give her for January?
On December 1st, I gave her another check for $950.
But Caron had Silva removed via restraining order and kept the money for the time she didn't or legally couldn't stay. Caron seems okay at the start, but as she gets going, she makes some strange statements that give us a window into what it might be like to share a place with her.
She lived there for 7 weeks. She paid you for more than 7 weeks. You had her removed from the house. Are you going to tell me why in a second? But she didn't live there, so you have to give her back money. Do you understand?
I understand that my time is certainly worth a lot.
Once she actually explains why she filed a restraining order, the judge isn't just unconvinced, she's offended.
Behavior, her conduct with utilizing the courts in an inappropriate and unfair way is so egregious.
Judge Judy thinks it's such an egregious overreach and misuse of the law that she awards Silva the small claims general maximum of $5,000. Number 3, the law doesn't give a. It's rare to hear Judge Judy swear. She's someone who holds courtroom decorum in high esteem. But defendant Joshua Sumrow pushes the limit of her patience.
I returned $250 of his security deposit back, and
Why?
I withheld $100 for outstanding bills from the months that he had lived there.
I've never seen a dollar from
Just a second.
Sorry.
What bills?
Sumrow kept part of the security deposit from his coworker and roommate, withholding the money as he saw fit. However, things escalated months later when the plaintiff sued him. In response, Sumrow filed a protective order that would have gotten the plaintiff essentially barred from their shared job.
The day after I was served with a small claims case, it was in my belief that he was going to continue to harass me while I was at work.
It's such a clear and inappropriate abuse of the system that the judge roasts him with the fire of 1,000 suns.
The law doesn't give a rat's ass how you feel.
Number 2, boiling water attack. In one of the saddest, most outrageous cases heard on the show, plaintiff Kylie Jones accuses defendant Octavia Canby of pouring a pot of boiling water on her while she slept.
Do you have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Canby, of course, asserts she didn't attack her roommate. It comes out through the police and medical records that substance use on the night in question made Jones an unreliable witness to her own attack.
That's what you told the doctor.
No, that's not what I told her.
So you mean the police officer got it wrong and the doctor who admitted you to the hospital got it wrong?
Judge Judy is uncharacteristically empathetic towards the end of the case. She believes Jones's story. She just couldn't advocate for herself in her impaired state.
But part of the reason they didn't take you seriously is because you were your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Tupperware Lady. Karina Roy is a legend to any Judge Judy fan. The eponymous Tupperware Lady is on her own wavelength throughout this case.
Just get to the
So I said, look, if I don't get my Tupperware back, I'll just take it off my rent. And she said, well, don't you dare. And she threw her blankets off her, which every morning.
Just a second, are you telling me you went into her bedroom?
Yes.
Her testimony concerning an argument with her ex-roommate over food storage receptacles is a stunning tour de force. She recreates the moment the defendant allegedly perpetrated a vicious Tupperware attack like she's going for an Emmy.
And she ran to the door and slammed it open. She said, I ate it. And she stormed into the kitchen.
It almost makes us forget she's talking about plastic food containers. Scheindlin's patience is kind of astounding here.
Let me explain something to you. Don't get dramatic with me.
This eccentric plaintiff would probably be thrown out of the courtroom today. Then again, Judge Judy didn't get this far by not knowing what good TV looks like.
What did she say?
The babies. The babies.
Hey!
Which of these cases had you reliving your worst roommate situation? Tell us in the comments.
And she sells drugs.
Oh, wow.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.